Welcome back to Alien Love Stories, the only channel where your brain might get hacked by love and broadcast to 43 million people across 3 galaxies. Today's story begins with a simple thought and ends with the whole universe knowing about that one time you cried watching a perfume commercial. Buckle in. Okay, you know how people say, if you really knew what I was thinking right now, you'd run away? Yeah, imagine the entire galaxy not just knowing what you were thinking, but watching it unfold in real time, subtitled, color-coded, analyzed by news anchors, and memmed by sentient plants. And all because I said yes to a girl with really nice eyes and mild brain hacking abilities. My name's Jace. I have a problem. Her name's Ona, and she accidentally turned my thoughts into a live intergalactic broadcast. It started with a date. Not just any date, the date. You know the one, the first time she sleeps over, the first time your hair is a disaster, and your brain wakes up before your body and thinks, wow, she's still here. Is that pancake smell? Should I pretend I always sleep like a dead poet, or just accept I drooled on the pillow? All those thoughts? Yeah, she heard them. I met Ona through a dating app called Frequencies, where instead of swiping left or right, you tune your emotional frequency to match. I picked mild chaos with occasional softness. She picked interstellar empathy with a hint of mischief. Perfect match. Her profile photo looked like starlight wrapped in sarcasm. Our first date involved dumplings, hover karaoke, and a small argument about whether dessert counts as a meal. It does. Our second date lasted 42 hours. Our third date became a sleepover. And our fourth date? Well, that's the one where she accidentally uploaded my mind to the Intergalactic Newsfeed. To be fair, she warned me. I'm from Cyril 7, she'd said. We read emotional auras, only surface-level stuff. Like, vibes? I asked. Exactly, she smiled. Except we get the whole sentence, not just the vibe. I thought that sounded kind of hot. Until she made pancakes, and the galaxy met my inner monologue. I woke up, shirtless, mouth dry, head fuzzy, smelled vanilla, saw her back in the kitchen, graceful, glowing faintly in her oversized shirt that said, "Trust me, I'm not from around here." Cute, perfect, deadly. I stretched, rolled over, and whispered to myself, "Don't ruin this. She's so out of your league it's embarrassing." That thought, it didn't stay in my head. It went somewhere else. There was a chirp, not in the room, in the air, like a notification in the soul. I sat up. "Did you hear that?" I asked. Ona froze, turned slowly, face pale, eyes wide. "Tell me you didn't think that while the neural sync was still active." I blinked. "What neural sync?" She sprinted across the room, tripped over my pants on the floor, and grabbed her communicator. Too late. Her hands trembled as she held it up. And there it was, streaming, live, my thoughts, floating across the screen, in Helvetica bold, with emojis. Wow, her hair smells like the forest after a sad rain. Brain status, soft boy alert. Did I leave my hover bike lights on? Also yes. Still thinking about my ex? Why? Galaxy reacts, 88% judging you. Don't fall in love with her. Too late. She dropped the device. I stared, then screamed, "Turn it off! I can't!" "What do you mean you can't?" "It's connected to the Intergalactic Newsfeed protocol. I thought I was only syncing to me. I forgot I gave broadcast permissions to the Empathy Lab 6 months ago." "You synced my brain to the Empathy Lab? They pay well." I paced the room in my underwear, panic sweating, thoughts flying, which of course made it worse. Because every time I thought, don't think about that time in middle school when you peed during a class recital, the entire galaxy got it live. Viewership counter, 2.3 million, 3.8 million, 5.1 million. Hashtag #, mind of Jace. Trending in 47 systems. Quote of the moment, "If this is what humans are really like, I want 3. Sentient amoeba from Vextron 5. I dove for her comms tablet. She dove with me. We rolled. We cursed. We wrestled in a blanket of shared shame. At some point I shouted, Why are people commenting on my toothbrush brand? She groaned. Because you thought, I hate mint, but I don't want to look like a baby in front of her. That's branding ammo in 5-star systems. By hour 2, we were being interviewed remotely by a floating AI bubble named Z, who asked, so Jace, when you thought, I wish she'd stay forever, was that before or after the thought, what if she's reading my mind right now? I glared. Is this legal? Z chuckled. Legal? Number delightful? Absolutely. I fled, tried to think of nothing. Didn't work, because even thinking don't think is a thought. Please just let me die quietly in a hole. Broadcast translation, he's spiraling. We love to see it. Still not wearing pants. View count spikes 12%. Still thinks about that one moment when mom said, I'm proud, and he didn't believe it. Galaxy exhales in emotional unity. I curled up on the floor. Ona sat beside me, eyes red, hands cold. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. I know, I muttered. Pause. I just didn't want you to see everything. She nodded. But maybe you needed to. I looked at her, half wanting to scream, half wanting to cry, all wanting to disappear. Then my thoughts whispered, even now. I don't hate her, and the world heard it, all of it. 12.4 million views. That's how many people, and not people, watched me spiral into a full-fledged mental breakdown in real time. And that was just on the primary stream. There were 132 mirror feeds, 19 remix edits, and one unauthorized theatrical adaptation on the floating opera stage of Glarnu 3 titled Inside the Mind of the Most Average Human. It was weird being famous for something I didn't do, exactly. I hadn't sung, I hadn't danced, I hadn't saved anyone, I hadn't started a revolution, I just thought. Badly, awkwardly, humanly. And now the galaxy had opinions. My communicator wouldn't stop pinging. Jace, you're the voice of our generation, a sentient mist from Sector Q. Please endorse my book, Think Like Jace. Some scammer named Glorp. Can you think about my ex-boyfriend and tell me if he still loves me? A lizard therapist on Venus. Worse than the messages? The memes. Oh God, the memes. There was one where my face was photoshopped onto a burning marshmallow with the caption, when you lie about moving on, but your brain snitches. Another one had me whispering to a mirror, don't think about her. Mirror, too late, King. And the worst one? A gif of me twitching in panic, overlaid with, me when I remember that thing I said in 2009. The hashtag #, Mind of Jace, reached the top 5 trending list on the Galactic Pulse Network. Thought leak, charneurodrama, cranial crush confession, let him think, like I also miss my ex. A cult formed around me on Zarnok 9. They called themselves the Reflectors. Their slogan? If he thinks, we feel. I wish I was joking. I tried to shut it down. Filed a formal request with the Empathic Broadcast Authority. They denied it, citing public therapeutic benefit. Apparently, 72% of viewers said watching my shame spiral helped them connect with their own suppressed sadness. Great. I was a cosmic cautionary tale turned mental health mascot. Meanwhile, Ona had gone into hiding. Her lab revoked her research license. The Cyril 7 consulate issued a public apology. We deeply regret this unfiltered insight into human romantic pathology. She sent me a single message. I didn't know people would care this much. I replied, neither did I, and didn't send it, because I was afraid of what else I'd think the moment after. I couldn't sleep. The more I told myself, don't think, the more I did. And the more I did, the more people watched. I thought, maybe this will blow over. The screen lit up with a new wave of viewers. I thought, at least they don't know my childhood nickname. It trended within an hour. Lil Chicky Jace, don't ask. I went outside, hood up, sunglasses on. Didn't help. People recognized me not by face, but by emotional frequency. I walked past a group of teenagers. One pointed and whispered, he's doing the, what am I doing with my life loop again? Another held up their phone. A voiceover of my most chaotic thought played aloud. If I eat this entire pizza alone, Am I emotionally bankrupt or just hungry? Laughter, then applause, then a flash mob doing interpretive dance to my brainwaves. I ran. In the middle of the night, I got a call from Thrix. Thrix is my ex-roommate. Half Octavie, half influencer. All chaos. Bro, he said, this is the best thing that ever happened to you. You're a brand now. I'm a leak. Even better. Emotional transparency is trending. We could monetize this. I don't want to be monetized. Too late. I already launched a mood ring line based on your mental states. You what? It's called Jace Glow. Patent pending. I hung up. Tried to cry. But even that felt public. Because the moment the tears came, the live comments lit up with, he's crying. I'm crying. Tell him he's enough. This is the most vulnerable I've felt since season 4 of Galaxy Love Prison. I started thinking about nothing. Really tried. Blank space. Pure white. Empty field. It lasted 4.2 seconds. Then I thought, why is it so hard to just be? And that single question caused the largest emotional resonance spike ever recorded. Entire schools paused class. People held each other. One telepath fainted from the weight of it. The Empathic News Network ran a headline. Jace hits existential meltdown peak. Experts say same. In the quietest hour of the night, I whispered, I don't know who I am when I can't hide anything. And the comments stopped. Just for a moment, as if the galaxy was holding its breath. Then one message appeared. Simple. From an anonymous user. Text only. No emoji. You're Jace, and we still stayed. Imagine being told your brain is now a cultural export. Not your music, not your art, not even your breakfast recipes. Just your raw, unfiltered thought spiral. Sold as a healing resource to emotionally bankrupt alien species. Welcome to my Tuesday. It began with a knock, not a physical one. An interdimensional neural ping, authorized by the diplomatic thought interface, which somehow bypassed my do not disturb setting by classifying itself as sacred invitation. The message read, the inhabitants of Plane 34QZ request private session with thought entity, Jace, emotion index, null, interest level, extreme, followed by a big shiny button labeled, accept with whole brain. Naturally, I hit decline, and naturally it didn't matter. 30 minutes later, my apartment lights flickered. The ceiling began to bend inward, like a thought folding in on itself. And then it arrived, the ambassador of Plane 34QZ, formless, faceless, a shifting cloud of blue data and soundless sound. Imagine smoke with opinions. Its voice arrived not through ears, but straight through my teeth. Hello, Jace. We are the null. We do not feel, but we observe feeling. Your mind is our new favorite television. I blinked. You watch me? We do not watch. We download the shape of your sorrow. It is beautiful. I gulped. Thanks, I guess. It floated closer. We have a request. Please allow us to purchase your thought stream, perpetually, unfiltered, for the benefit of null kind. What would you even do with it? Play it in our temples, worship the contradiction, study the chaos, feel one through you. That sounds terrifying. We will pay. How much? 1 black hole's worth of energy credits. I paused. How much is that in snacks? Enough to feed a planet, or buy 7 million pretzels. I almost said yes. Almost. But then, the feed trembled, and I heard it. The beginning of a memory I'd buried so deep, I'd almost convinced myself it never happened. Rings in the sock drawer. Don't panic. She'll say yes. She has to. This is the only way she'll stay. Smile. Don't let her see you're shaking. Number no. Not that. Not that. The null gasped, or did whatever beings without lungs do to express surprise. What is this memory? It has high density and salt. I backed away. This is off limits. Why? Because that was not for anyone else. But it is beautiful. The panic, the hope, the quiet crumbling. We have never seen that color of disappointment. Good. Please share the rest. No. We will pay double. Add 4 million noodle-like friendship beings. I don't want your sentient noodles. I smashed the comms device, grabbed my coat, ran. My thoughts screamed, she doesn't even know I proposed to someone else. What if Ona sees this? What if she already knows? What if that's why she cried that night and didn't say why? The feed wasn't done. The memory played louder. She said no. She said, I can't marry someone who needs me more than he loves me. She walked away. I kept the ring. I told no one. View count, 29 million. Hashtag #proposal leak new trend. Reacting to Jace's heartbreak in 6-second sobs. Ona didn't call, didn't text, didn't comment, didn't joke. And that scared me more than any meme ever could. Back home, I curled into myself. Thought, she probably hates me now. She probably thinks I'm still in love with the past. I probably am. But only because it broke me. And she's the only one who's seen the pieces. A message blinked on my wall. Unmarked, just 4 words. From Ona. Still here, not scared, I cried. And yes, the galaxy saw. And yes, a dolphin creature made a remix beat out of my sobbing. But for once I didn't care. Because even after all of it, she stayed. The first Intergalactic editorial calling Ona the mind leech of Cyril 7 dropped 3 hours after the proposal leak stream. It came from a reputable source. Or as reputable as a gossip blog on a moon shaped like a banana could be. Title, Heartbreak for Science. Did Ona weaponize her boyfriend's trauma? And then came the comments. She knew he was still hurting. She streamed it anyway. This is just another case of academic overreach, emotional colonialism at its finest. What's next? Selling tears on the open market. She was probably using him for data. Classic Cyril empathy tampering. I thought they were cute. Now I'm scared to think around her. Ona deleted her public profiles. Her lab suspended her. Her species ambassador issued a very awkward press statement. The Council of Cyril does not endorse recreational mind leakage. Which honestly just made it worse. I tried to fix it. I really did. I posted, she didn't mean to share my memories. She's not a monster. She's my partner. It was a glitch. A beautiful, terrifying, intimate glitch. Which led to this headline. Jace calls emotional invasion beautiful. Stockholm Syndrome confirmed. I went on a talk show. Feelings First with Raniko. She was an octopus-shaped therapist/influencer who wore live reacting mood rings on all 12 limbs. I sat across from her under the heat of 4 suns and 89 billion viewers. She asked gently, do you still trust Ona? Yes, I said, glow, green. She didn't manipulate me. Faint flicker, pink. I chose to stay because I love her. Glitch pulse, pale orange. Ronnie Ko raised one tentacle. Interesting. I shifted in my seat. I love her, I repeated. Glow. Again, louder. This time visible from orbit. Cut to reaction compilations. Did you see his glow? That was hesitation. He's not lying, he's unsure. Why is that more heartbreaking than a lie? Poor Ona. He's not ready for her. Release her. She deserves someone who doesn't flicker. Ona watched the broadcast in silence. Didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't call me. Just left. I found her the next morning. Not far. Still in the city. Still wearing that hoodie that said, trust me, I'm not from around here. But this time, it looked like a plea instead of a joke. She was at the park, sitting on the edge of a floating fountain that played melodies based on your pulse. Hers made no sound. I sat beside her, said nothing. She broke the silence. So, green. I winced. You watched it. Hard not to. I didn't lie. I know. But I didn't say it right. You said it exactly how you felt. That hurt more. She looked at me. I didn't come here to make you love me, Jace. I know. I didn't stream your mind on purpose. I know. I didn't expect you to be ready. Pause, but I hoped. I took her hand. It was cold, not angry, just worn down. I want to be ready, I whispered. That's not the same. I'm trying. She nodded. I can't stay where I'm not believed. I believe in you. But not in us, not yet. The fountain behind us played one soft note, minor key, a sound like a goodbye trying not to happen. Later that day I got an alert. New trending tag, number sign, Friona. Some users defending her now. Others demanding she face trial for emotional espionage. But the most popular post came from a 9-year-old on Jupiter 13. I think Jace is scared, and that's okay. I'm scared when I love too. It got 89 million likes. That night I stared at my reflection, said to myself, I love her. No glow. Then, I love who I am when I'm with her. Flicker. And that flicker said more than 1,000 declarations, because it meant not always. Not yet. But maybe soon. I found Relk in the second layer of the emotionless market on Sirox 9. You had to walk through 6 corridors of muffled crying booths and one vending machine that sold digital regret in gum form. He lived behind a curtain that smelled like old static and unspoken apologies. He wasn't what I expected, not a wild hacker with glow-in-the-dark veins, just a guy. Gray robes, calm eyes, voice like a warm sigh. You're the leak boy, he said. Jace, I corrected. He nodded. But yeah, that's me. What do you want? To stop. Thinking? Feeling? He blinked, sat down, folded his hands like he was about to pray or fold a complicated napkin. You understand the cost? I hesitated. No. Good. That means you're not pretending to be ready. He motioned for me to sit and began. There was no machine, no helmet, just 2 fingers on my forehead and a question whispered into my spine. Do you consent to the disconnection of emotion from cognition for the purpose of temporary self-preservation, knowing full well that some things, once severed, never return the same? I said yes, because I was tired, not just tired of being watched, tired of feeling everything all the time. He hummed, and the world blinked. First went the shame, then the sadness, then the sharp ache in my chest every time I saw her name. I felt clean, hollow, safe, like someone had wrapped my heart in thick glass and left a sign. Do not tap. This exhibit is empty. The feed went silent. No more flickers, no more glow, no more trend updates. I stared at my reflection in a shop window and thought, I should smile. I didn't, not because I couldn't, because I didn't care. I passed a bakery Ona once loved, didn't stop. Passed the bench where we first kissed, didn't look. Passed someone with her hair, her laugh, her walk, felt nothing. Relk found me a day later, offered a cup of something warm. You're free, he said. I nodded. He studied me, then asked, do you miss her? I thought, waited, searched, said, I remember the idea of missing, but not the feeling. He looked sad. I didn't understand why. The next day, Ona came. She didn't knock, just stood in my doorway, eyes red, hands tight. Are you okay? She asked. I answered, I don't know. That made her flinch. She stepped inside, held my hand. Nothing sparked, no warmth, no glow, just contact, skin to skin, fact. She whispered, I miss your thoughts. I said, I'm still here. No, she said softly. You're not. She reached into her pocket, pulled out a scarf I left at her place, the one I thought I'd lost, wrapped it around my neck. Do you remember this? Yes. Do you remember the night we danced on the rooftop in it? Yes. What did you feel then? Pause, search, nothing. I don't know. She stepped back, eyes full, heart full, voice cracking. Then what's the point of keeping you? I didn't answer. Not because I didn't want to, because I couldn't. Because words are empty when you don't feel the thing you're trying to say. When she left, I didn't follow. When she cried, I didn't reach. When the door closed, I sat still. And for the first time in weeks, no one watched. And I still didn't glow, because I had nothing left to betray. That night, Relk returned, sat beside me, asked one question. Do you want it back? And for the first time in days, and my voice cracked, and I whispered, yes. There was no button, no password, no ceremony, just Relk's quiet voice. Say her name. That's how you reconnect a soul. You say the name of the thing you miss most. I whispered, Ona. And the dam broke. It started slow, like a skipped heartbeat, like a single raindrop in a desert brain. Then everything hit me. Her laugh, the smell of her coffee, the way she wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, like she never noticed. The tiny scar under her chin from falling off a hoverboard at 12. The way she said my name like it was a question she was hoping the answer to. And the day she left. I collapsed. Not dramatically, just folded in on myself. Because feeling everything after feeling nothing is like breathing after drowning. My body shook, my skin buzzed, my chest caught fire. Relk whispered, let it move through you. But I couldn't move, so it did. The walls began to hum, the floor vibrated with old laughter, and somehow, without meaning to, I became audible, not with words, but emotion, raw, translated, musical, broadcast. Every emotion I'd tried to erase spilled out through the same accidental neural sync circuit from before. Except this time, it wasn't text. It was music. It began as a single tone, software broken, honest, a heartbeat in D minor. Then came the layers, a low cello of shame, a violin of what if, a piano chord of please come back. My memories became melody. My regret became harmony. My longing became rhythm. And every planet that once laughed at my panic went silent. A school on Titan paused mid-lesson. A sentient glacier colony stopped splitting. A cult of logic only monks gasped and felt. The broadcast title read, Untitled, but it's about her, by Jace, accidentally. Trending tags, Yurwar Feel with Jace, Mosh the song that wasn't. Meant Yurwar, remember, my first heartbreak, Yurwar cranial ballad. Someone uploaded a remix within 6 minutes, but even that couldn't dull the ache in the original, because the original was too human, too raw, too real. And somewhere, though I couldn't see her, I knew Ona was listening, because there was a pause in the feed, and one quiet voice entered, not mine. Heron, just one word, sung, in a chord that only she could create. Jace, the melody shifted, from ache to hope, from past to possible, from wound to wish. The galaxy held its breath, and for the first time in this whole ridiculous, impossible, beautiful mess, I didn't want to hide. They called it the Accord of Resonance. I called it, that time 11 beings with way too many limbs and opinions asked me to define the future of emotional autonomy. Same thing. The chamber was suspended in free orbit. No gravity, no time distortion fields. Just a massive floating amphitheater held together by shared frequency. 11 delegates sat in a circle, each from a species uniquely affected by the Jace broadcast. Some cried, some pulsed. One kept shedding petals that turned into birds. That one made me uncomfortable. The leader, a translucent orb named Lumien, floated forward. Jace of Earth, emotional source, accidental composer. Great, now I had titles. You have triggered the largest emotional synchronization event in recorded history. I shrugged. I just felt things too hard. Exactly. A different voice, sharp, crystalline, echoed, you have unlocked something we have long tried to simulate, unfiltered emotional resonance. Another delegate, made of woven light, added, species previously incapable of empathy have begun developing second-layer neural reactions. A fourth chimed in, entire sectors are reporting reduced conflict, increased forgiveness, romantic resurgence. I blinked. Wait, you're saying I made the galaxy more loving? Temporarily. Oh, right. Lumien extended a soft pulse toward me. We wish to propose a solution. You, Jace, will become the anchor host of a newly regulated emotional broadcast grid. Not constant, but recurring, shared across systems, calibrated through your unique neuroempathic structure. I frowned. You want me to think on purpose? Yes. And feel for everyone? Yes. Silence. Then a final voice. This one ancient, heavy, spoken in time itself. Or you may choose disconnection. Shut the feed. Seal your mind. Forever. Two buttons appeared in front of me, one pulsing like a heart, the other still, cool, silent. They didn't glow. They waited, like choices do. I turned to Lumien. What happens if I choose to stay connected? You lose privacy, permanently. You become public property of the heart grid. Your thoughts will be curated, your memories mined, your soul shared. I turned to the silent button, and if I disconnect, you forget, not just the pain, the music, the growth. The night she said your name and it changed the room. My voice cracked. Will I forget her? But you will forget how it felt to be seen by her. I closed my eyes, thought of Ona, not her face, not her laugh, but the way I felt when she forgave me, when she whispered, still here, not scared. That feeling, I wanted to keep it, even if it meant everyone else got to borrow it sometimes. I touched the heart button, a pulse, low, deep. The council closed their eyes. The chamber trembled. Somewhere, someone forgave their brother. Somewhere, someone sent a message to the one they hadn't dared love. Somewhere, a war paused, just for a moment, because one man chose to feel in public. I opened my eyes, asked, "What now?" Lumion smiled, a soft shift in color, in warmth. "Now, you go home and feel as you always have, with chaos, with honesty, with music." As I left the chamber, a message blinked on my wristband. From Ona. No words, just a voice note. I pressed play. Her voice, steady, wobbly, beautiful. "You said yes, I felt it. I'm still here. I've always been." At first it was subtle, a soft buzz in my fingertips, a warmth in my chest that pulsed with others. Not voices, not words, just presence. Billions of them, floating at the edge of my heart. Listening, feeling, waiting. I was home, back on Earth, back in my apartment. Everything the same, but not. Because now I wasn't alone in my emotions. I was the center of a vast, delicate web. Invisible, intangible, but very real. They called it the feel grid. I called it overwhelming. Every sigh I breathed, every memory I touched, every whisper I didn't say aloud. They felt it. On moons, on ships, in cities and forests I'd never visit. Somehow I became the translator of ache, the conduit of tenderness. And for a while, it was beautiful. Someone kissed someone they hadn't dared to love. Someone forgave a parent. A soldier on Altrox lowered his weapon. A queen on Nuvra sang in public for the first time in 700 years. A comet changed course, just because I smiled while thinking of her. But then came the shadow. It arrived like most shadows do, quietly, unannounced, slipping in through the memory I tried not to replay. The one where Ona left, the one where I sat alone, the one where I told myself, "You'll never be enough for her." That thought, still there, dormant. I tried to ignore it, tried to outfeel it. But feelings don't work that way, and neither does a galaxy that's listening. It began on a Tuesday, a small tremor in the feed. Someone cried on a tram in Saturn. A whale creature on June refused to sing. The heart tree of Florentia 5 turned blue. Something was wrong, and it was me. I woke up sweating, breathing like I'd swallowed thunder. Ona's scarf on my nightstand, untouched, unforgiven, unexplained. I whispered to the dark, "I love her." But the flicker came. Still not full, still not sure, still not enough. And then it happened. The flood. It wasn't water. It wasn't fire. It was raw human grief, amplified across light years, through me, because of me. The feel grid surged. A wave of emotional resonance exploded outward. Pain, loss, guilt, shame, everything I'd buried for months, spilled across the minds of every being connected. They fell to their knees. They sobbed. They screamed. They held each other. Not knowing why, only knowing someone is hurting so deeply. I forgot how to breathe. On Mars, schools shut down. On Venus, songs went silent. On Neptune 3, the storms paused, and then the question flooded the networks. Is Jace okay? What happened to our heart? Why does it feel like love is broken? I collapsed, couldn't move, couldn't shield them, couldn't lie. Because the thing about being a public feeling is, you don't get to choose what's private anymore. Then, through the static, a touch, a presence, familiar, real, warm, Ona. She walked in, no words, just eyes, then arms, then heartbeat, not just mine, hair in the galaxies, ours. She held me, tight, and whispered, I feel you. I shook. I can't hold them. She smiled. You never had to, and kissed me. And just like that, the flood receded, not erased, just shared, held, balanced, together. Somewhere, someone took a deep breath. A planet exhaled. A love was reborn. And I didn't glow. I radiated. We stood together this time, me and Ona. No space between us. No secrets either. Not anymore. Not since the flood. The chamber was fuller than before. Not with bodies, with frequencies, empaths, non-empaths, machines that had learned how to ache, planets that had started humming again. Everyone was here, or rather, everyone was feeling, through us, because of us. Lumiere floated closer, gentle now, less judge, more witness. You've reconnected the galaxy. I didn't answer, because it wasn't a compliment. It was a question in disguise. Another delegate spoke, this one a sphere of dripping light. What began as an accident has become a structure, a web, a possibility, a danger, a gift, a burden. Then the vote was laid bare. 2 paths. Option A, open the field grid to all beings permanently, no central host, every living creature connected, every joy shared, every pain rippled. Option B, shut it down, dismantle the grid, restore emotional sovereignty, no middle ground, no half measures. Lumiere looked at me. Jace, you opened the door. You must choose if we step through. I looked at Ona. She didn't nod, didn't speak, just looked back. Eyes soft, willing to go wherever I led, even if that meant silence again. I stepped forward, spoke. My name is Jace. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a leader. I'm just a man who thought too hard and loved too deep. Soft laughter in the room. I continued. I didn't ask to be heard, but I needed to be. And maybe, so did all of you. I took a breath. In the flood, I saw what it meant to be too connected, to lose distinction, to drown in feeling that wasn't yours. I don't want that for us. But I also saw what happened before, when we pretended we didn't need each other. I don't want that either. A hush. Lumiere floated closer. Then what do you choose? I smiled and said, neither. Gasps, ripples. A few translators fainted. Lumiere paused. Explain. I turned to the council. To feel is sacred, but to choose to feel with someone, that's love. I propose a third path. There is no third. There is now. I took out a small crystal. Ona's original empathy shard. Held it up. This stays with me, but I'll share it. Not as a broadcast, as a bridge. A way for those who want to feel together, to do so. And for those who aren't ready, to wait. The grid flickered, adjusted, adapted. Opt-in empathy. A revolution built on consent. Lumiere pulsed, then smiled. We accept. Later, after the chamber faded and the stars returned, Ona and I sat on the edge of a comet, watching it melt into the dark. She leaned on me, whispered, you didn't save the galaxy. I nodded. I just gave it a door with a lock. She kissed my cheek, still sexy. And somewhere across space and silence, someone cried, someone laughed, someone dared to say, I love you. And this time, only the right person heard. The sign read, still thinking. Subtext, T, silence, consent. Below that, in smaller letters, please leave your drama at the door. We have enough of our own. It was Ona's idea, a safe place. No feel grid, no accidental broadcasts, no judgment. Just a chair, a cup, a choice. Every customer was offered a tea matched to their aura. Green for uncertainty, violet for quiet hope, red for rage, blue for wounds you haven't named yet. You drank it, you felt, and you decided if you wanted to speak. Most didn't, and that was okay. We lived above the shop, woke up with the smell of star anise steam and bittersweet memory. There were no cameras, no screens, just an old record player and the low hum of healing. One regular Tala came every Thursday. She always ordered ocean fog, a tea for slow grief. Never said what she'd lost, never needed to. She just sat, sipped, sometimes teared up, left a crystal on the counter, until one day she came in shaking, eyes unfocused, aura pulsing like a storm. Ona looked at her, paused, reached for a different jar, a rare one. Midnight Truth. We usually didn't serve it. Too strong, too direct. But Tala nodded. Ona steeped it gently, hands careful, voice soft. It'll find what you're ready to feel. Tala took the cup, held it, closed her eyes, and the room shifted. It started at the edges, a pull, a warmth, not from her, from me. My fingers twitched, my breath caught, and I felt a current, flowing not out of me, but into. Her grief came through me like static through a broken radio. I gasped. The mug in my hand glowed, the lights flickered, and my mind, or my quiet, retired, private mind, began to leak again. First a whisper. Don't think, don't feel, not again. Then a sharper echo. I never got to say goodbye. Then, boom, a memory I didn't recognize. A man dying, a promise broken, a goodbye never spoken. But it wasn't mine. It was hers, playing in my head, streaming, projecting, and the old neural paths lit up like they never left. I collapsed, tea spilling, voices flooding back in, not just hers, everyone's. A customer in the back gasped. I can feel her, another whispered. Is that my brother? Ona dropped the teapot, ran to me, held my head, screamed, Jace, shut it down. But I couldn't, because I didn't know how it started. The walls shimmered. Every emotion we'd ever served came alive, lingered, combined. And for a moment, our little cafe became a temple of unfiltered grief. Not dangerous, just loud. Too much. Until Ona leaned close, put her forehead to mine, and whispered, only let in what's asked. Only hold what's offered. This is your heart, not theirs. My mind slowed. My breath returned. The lights dimmed. The leak closed. Silence. Real this time. No broadcast. No echo. Just 23 customers staring, some crying, one humming softly. Tala looked up, eyes wet, smiling. Thank you. Then she left, like nothing happened. Later, Ona held my hand as we swept the floor. You okay? She asked. I shrugged, almost deleted the entire privacy revolution with one cup of tea. She laughed. You're still cute when you panic. Still? She kissed my cheek. You never stopped. We put up a new sign on the door the next day. New rule, Midnight Truth must be steeped with supervision. Below that, also, hugs available on request. And somewhere across the galaxy, someone wrote a message on a bathroom wall. Still thinking saved me. They signed it. J. Wasn't me, but I smiled anyway. The knock came at 3:03 a.m. Always a bad sign. Ona stirred. I sat up. The knock wasn't on the door. It was in my mind. I reached for the crystal receiver. A single message blinked across the darkness. Your data is worth more than you are. Sender, unknown. Location, masked. Intent, commercial. Then the lights cut. Not just in the cafe, in my head. My thoughts stopped being mine. Not gone, just mirrored. Somewhere someone was copying me. I heard the hum, low, mechanical, clinical. A voice followed. Not through air, through remnant connections, old streams I thought were sealed. Hello, Jace. We've been watching. your grief, your growth, your beauty. It is inefficient to leave it trapped inside one organism. Who are you? I whispered. We are Mimica, the Mirror Collective. We don't want your body, just your essence. I stood. My chest burned. Ona appeared in the doorway, half awake, glowing faintly with worry. What's happening? She asked. I turned. They're here for me, not you, your emotions, your thoughts, your neural pattern of love, your Ona file. She gasped. You kept a file on me? I blushed. It's encrypted and poetic. We will extract, reconstruct, replicate your emotional evolution, feed it into Mellow, our artificial empathic interface. I narrowed my eyes. You want a fake feeling? We want to scale it. Your story made billions feel. We will make trillions. Ona stepped forward. You can't copyright heartbreak. The voice purred. We don't need to. Just harvest it. Once copied, no one will know the difference. A trillion simulated Jaces, loving perfectly. No hesitation, no fear, just feeling on demand. I shook, felt the back of my mind being scanned. The kiss, the cafe, the scarf, the song, all pulled up like files on a cold screen. Unless you delete it first. I blinked. What? Your mind, your record, a failsafe, one press. It erases everything you felt, every resonance, every glow. Gone. But they get nothing. The failsafe appeared, a symbol on my palm. Only I could press it. One press equals freedom, but at the cost of forgetting Ona, the flood, the song, the scarf, United States. I looked at her, tears already in her eyes. Don't ask me to tell you what to do, she whispered. I wouldn't, I said. Pause, then. But would you still stay if I forgot you? She stepped closer, voice shaking. I'd remind you, every day, even if you never remembered. I stared at my hand. The failsafe glowed. Ready. The data leak accelerated. If I waited too long, they'd get everything. But if I pressed it, I'd lose myself. She took my other hand, whispered, you were never just what you remembered. You were how you made people feel, and they still feel. I closed my eyes and did something Mimica never predicted. I spoke, not to them, to her. I love you, not because I remember every moment, but because somehow you always bring me back to myself. And with that, I pressed the failsafe, not the one on my hand, the one in my heart, the one that said, feel, fully, even now. The leak stopped, not by deletion, but by reclaiming. My thoughts locked, my memories stayed, but the connection closed. They didn't get me, because I finally did. Ona wrapped her arms around me, not to hold me back, to hold me in place, so I wouldn't float away from myself again. And in the distance, Mimica blinked, defeated, confused, unable to simulate what just happened, because even their code couldn't replicate a love that chose to stay. I didn't become a hero, didn't become a legend, didn't even get a documentary. But I wrote a book. It's called Thinking Out Loud, a love story with too many viewers, subtitled Notes from a Mind That Got Too Loud and Then Learned to Whisper. It's not on any bestseller list. It doesn't glow. It doesn't stream. It doesn't even auto-read itself in 7 languages. You have to read it page by page, old-fashioned, quiet, like tea. I left copies in unexpected places, on a bench in Lunar District 7, in a locker on the floating college above Mars, inside a vending machine that only accepts shared laughter. Each one signed, for the one who still feels too much. The cafe's still open, still called, still thinking, still smells like bergamot and memory. Some people come to forget, some come to remember. Most come just to sit. We added a new tea. It's not on the menu. You have to ask for it. It's called Second Chances. Tastes like honey and rain. Side effects may include slight heart warmth, brief emotional déjà vu, sudden urge to text someone you miss. Ona runs the front now. I work in the back. She says I talk too much to the customers. She's right. But sometimes I sneak out, refill someone's cup, tell them, It's okay not to know what you feel. It's okay not to say it yet. They always nod, even if they don't understand, because sometimes the heart hears before the brain can explain. Once a traveler stopped in, half robot, half poet, said nothing, drank a tea called Unsent Letters. Before leaving, he handed me a note. One line. I was programmed to study empathy. I left here wanting to feel. I didn't glow, didn't flicker, but I smiled. People ask me if I miss the grid, the fame, the surge, the flood. I say, no, because I never needed everyone to know me. I just needed someone to stay, even after they did. And she did. Ona still reads me, not with tech, not with training, just with eyes. She sees me coming from a block away and knows what kind of day it's been. That's enough. That's everything. Last week I got a letter, handwritten, no return code, just this. I heard your story once. I cried. Then I told someone I loved them. They didn't love me back. But I'm still glad I said it. Thank you. I pinned it next to the cash register, next to a photo of me and Ona holding mismatched mugs and laughing like we forgot how serious the galaxy can be. If you're ever passing through this corner of space, stop by, order something you're not ready for. Sit down, breathe, think quietly, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear your own heart again. Not because I broadcast it, because you finally listened. If someone could read your mind, would you hide or would you say, here, this is me. Be gentle. Tell us in the comments, what's the one thing you've never said out loud, but maybe wish someone felt? And if this story made your heart quiet down just a little, like, share, subscribe. Next time on Alien Love Stories, my alien girlfriend mixed stardust in my juice. Now I glow every time I lie, was about feeling too much. But up next, my alien chef friend cooked pasta in a dying star. Now my dinner table has its own gravity, is about food, friendship, and the weight of memories we can't swallow.